Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be shooting this M&P Shield 9. It's been my everyday carry gun for about the last 8 months. So I'm going to shoot this and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So let's talk about this gun. Like I said, I've been carrying this for about 8 months. Before this, I was carrying the Ruger LCP, which was a 380. And what happened is when the whole coronavirus riots, BS started, I said, you know what, let me carry something with a little bit more firepower. The other thing is that 380 ammo became almost impossible to find. Also very expensive when you could find it. 9mm I could still, get a lot of, even though the price went up on it. There was never a time that I could not get 9mm. So that's part of the reason why I decided to switch over to a 9mm handgun. Now the gun is a little bit bigger, so there was a little bit of a getting used to carrying a larger gun. Okay, I generally don't live in a high risk area. I don't do high risk things, so I generally don't expect to ever need to use a gun for self-defense. But with the whole coronavirus nonsense that started in the riots, I said, you know what, let me just upgrade to something a little bit more powerful with a little bit more firepower. Now this comes with 2 magazines. You get a 7-rounder and an 8-rounder. Okay, normally I carry this with the factory 7-round magazine, and I carry it with the 8-round magazine in reserve on my belt, right? But one of the great things about this the Shield is that you can get these ETS magazines on Botoc.com really cheap. They're I think somewhere between $10 and $13. And you can plant these magazines. You can plant these magazines like you can plant spares in your car, in your shop, in your house, places where you think you might need it. So even though you're carrying a gun that only holds 7 or 8 rounds, because you can plant these magazines all over the place, you have access to instant additional firepower, if you should ever need it. So that's another reason why I really like carrying this Shield 9. Now, one of the things I did is I did change the sights on it. I put the TruGlo night sights. I mean, they're not super bad. They're not great. I mean, I've seen brighter sights, but they do work. I mean, they're at night I can't see the sights. I can, because the sights that came with it, you couldn't see anything at night. I've seen brighter night sights. I mean, these are just enough so that you can see your sights and get them on target, and they're fine. I mean, I'm able to hit the targets without any difficulty. I've shot probably a few hundred rounds on this gun. I have heard of other people having shot thousands of rounds on it, and it's a very durable gun. It's built well. It feels like it's been built well. The way one person who's another instructor described this gun it was a professionally built gun, or it was built to professional standards. And yeah, I mean, it definitely has that feel. I've never had a problem with this gun. The only time I had a problem is if you use the ATS, the long 12-round magazines, and you're using steel case ammo. I have had an occasional feeding problem, but if you're using it if you're using the 12 rounders with brass, never had a problem on that. Okay, so I use the 12 rounders. I definitely fill up with brass, but like the one I was just shooting now, that was a 7-rounder. Even the 9-rounders, never had any problems shooting steel case ammo with these magazines. The gun itself shoots steel case just fine. It's a small gun. It's not, when you're shooting this, you can feel that, I can feel it on my knuckle over here. I mean, it's not the most comfortable gun to shoot just by virtue of the fact that it's so small. I mean, I was hitting those targets at about 21 feet right there. I don't know, I guess I was getting about half the hits on target. So, it's a good shooter. I mean, now, I am looking to get into something different. I am looking to get a gun about this size or even a little bit smaller if I can, that shoots 9mm and takes a red dot optic, specifically the Holosun 507K. I've already ordered that optic, even though I don't have a gun to put it on. The reason is because it's available right now. I'd rather get it because like right now, like other optics that I want and I have guns ready to put on them, I can't get those optics to back order. So I said, you know what? Since the 507K is available, let me just put the order in, let it come, and then down the road, whenever I find a gun that I want to put it on, I'll get it on there. But that's where I want to go with this with my everyday carry situation. I want to I want to get a small optic. I find that I really enjoy shooting pistols with optics on it. If I like on any given day, I'm always going to want to shoot my P80 over this, okay? Because the P80, I have that Holosun 507. I really like shooting it with the optics. I shoot it well. I mean, at this distance, even at twice this distance that we're just shooting, I'd be going 100% on target with the optic. The other thing that I find is that at night, okay, what happens is if you get into a situation where it's getting like when you're in low light situations, not dark, not bright, but low light situations, I find that with my 49-year-old eyes, sometimes I have a hard time finding the sights. Okay, but if I have an optic on it, I have no problem, finding finding that red dot, in low light conditions. So, in daylight like this, yeah, I have no problem. I can come up, I can find those sights really easy, really fast. Okay. If it's like really dark, yeah, I can see the night sights pretty good. But when it's kind of like in the middle, right, or if you're like in a shady area, if you're in a shady area, I'm finding that I can have a little bit difficulty finding the sights. So that's why I know I have to get into a carry pistol with an optic on it. I care more about getting an optic on the gun than carrying it with a light. The reason is that, and I did a prior video on this. I mean, yeah, most bad things happen at night, but you can't use your gun, you can't use a light on your gun to identify something, right? So you have to use a pocket light. So I always carry a pocket light, but use your pocket light to identify. Once you identify a threat, you can see the position that it's in. You determine that you need to defend yourself with your gun, because that is now a deadly threat. When you go to your gun, I mean, are you fumbling with the light, or are you trying to go straight to the trigger? And what I find is that on small guns like this, they're going to have an even smaller light with smaller light buttons. So I think that the natural thing to happen is that you're going to go straight from your pocket light to the trigger on your gun. If you need to use the gun, you're not going to go from pocket light to pistol light to trigger. So it goes straight from pocket light to trigger. I think that's the natural way things are going to work out. In an emergency type of situation. So that's why I don't care so much about getting a light on this gun. Also, it's really hard to find holsters. The holster I'm carrying, this Polcraft, I got it from Amazon, $23. Works great. I'm really happy with it. It covers the trigger guard. Okay, so to me that's the safety mechanism of this gun. I didn't get the version that has the safety. The safety that because this gun does come with an option to buy it with a safety. It's really small, tiny. If you carry this gun with your safety on, you're not going to be able to get it off when you want to get it off. Okay, because it's really small, really hard. Especially if your hands are a little bit, a little bit wet or a little bit sweaty, you're not going to get that safety off. So I advise not using the safety. The only reason why I think they put the safety on this gun is because in some states they can't sell the gun unless it has a safety on it. Okay, so that's the reason why I think they offer it with the safety. So even if you have a safety, I would carry it with the safety off and rely on the holster as the safety mechanism, right? Because as long as this is in the holster, you can't get to that trigger. This gun is, that's the safety mechanism. And when I go home at night, I don't take the gun out of the holster. Okay, I pull my belt off like you saw me do earlier in the video, and I take the whole gun with the holster, put it in its safe, right? And then the next morning, when I go to my safe, once I get dressed, I take the gun inside its holster and I clip that onto the belt, okay? So I don't remove the gun from the holster until I get to the range and I'm ready to practice, okay? So as an everyday carry gun, I think this is a great gun. It is a little bit bigger than the LCP that I was carrying before. I can definitely feel the grip stick out a little bit. A couple of times I noticed, like if I bend over, sometimes my shirt might pull up and get caught like this, so the gun can become exposed. Whereas before when I carried the LCP, which was a little bit smaller, I never had this problem. I never had a problem with my shirt kind of coming up and sitting on top of this, and the gun becoming exposed. Whereas with this gun, sometimes that will happen. So if I bend over, I just make a conscious effort to make sure I pull my shirt down. But it's a decent size. I mean, one of the options I might consider is the Glock 43, which is a little bit smaller. I'm not sure. The other option I was considering was the SIG 365. That's another option. I think what it's going to probably come down to is which gun can I find first. But it has to be capable of taking the Holosun 507K. Okay, that's the starting point for me right now, because in my opinion, shooting is a seeing thing. The seeing part is more important than the touchy-feely part. Okay, I'm less concerned with how the gun feels in my hand. I'm more concerned with being able to see the optic, get that on target, get the bullets to go where I want them to go. One of the things I did do is I am planning to build a P80 version of the Glock 43. I believe it's called the PF9SS. So I already got the frame for that, and it's almost impossible to find a slide for that. So as soon as I'm able to find a slide, that'll a slide that will take the Holosun 507K. As soon as I get the slide for that, I'm going to start practicing with that, and then basically at that point I'll make a decision. I don't know if I'm going to carry that gun, but I might get a gun similar to that. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I just wanted to give you guys my feedback as far as using the Shield 9 as an everyday carry gun. After having been carrying it around for about 8 months, and being in a position where I can practice with it on a pretty regular basis. It's a good shooter. It's definitely not as easy to shoot, let's say, as a Glock 17 or a larger gun. With a larger gun, I'm definitely more accurate with a larger gun. With this one over here, it's just because it's smaller. You have to make more of an effort to squeeze the gun a little bit harder, to keep this thing from moving around. But hey, I think, like I said, at 21 feet, I got about at least 50% hits on. Those are 4-inch targets over there. So at 21 feet, I got at least 50% hits on 4-inch steel plate targets. So if you guys got some comments, put it in the comment section. If you're not a member, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.